History often tells us that civilizations fail because of leaders, wars, or catastrophes. Kings were overthrown, armies defeated, and cities burned. Yet a deeper, quieter truth exists. Civilizations collapse not solely due to identifiable agents, but because of the natural dynamics of complex systems. Collapse can occur even when no one is actively trying to destroy a society. Systems interact, dependencies accumulate, and vulnerabilities multiply until the structure cannot sustain itself. This emergent collapse is subtle, pervasive, and unavoidable unless actively monitored and corrected. Consider the great civilizations of the past. The Akkadian Empire, one of the earliest urban states, suffered repeated droughts that weakened agricultural production. No single ruler failed catastrophically. Trade networks remained largely intact. Yet the interplay of environmental stress, population pressure, and economic complexity gradually eroded resilience. Within decades, the empire fragmented. Collapse was not the result of malice or incompetence. It was the outcome of interdependent systems reaching their limits. Similarly, the Maya experienced environmental fluctuations, resource depletion, and social stress simultaneously. Scholars once attributed their decline to warfare or political strife alone, but research shows that these factors acted in combination with systemic pressures. The Maya did not fail because of a single decision. They failed because the accumulated interactions of multiple variables exceeded their capacity for adaptation. Emergent collapse unfolds invisibly, often misinterpreted by contemporaries as fate or divine will. In modern terms, emergent collapse can be observed in any highly interconnected system. Cities rely on electricity grids, water distribution, transportation, communication, and governance networks. Each functions independently but interacts with the others in subtle ways. A disruption in one domain can propagate unpredictably, triggering secondary failures elsewhere. No one controls these failures. They arise from the system itself. The larger and more complex the civilization, the more potential exists for emergent crises. Financial systems provide a clear example. Banks operate through trust, regulations, and interdependent transactions. A localized failure, such as a bank default, can cascade globally, not because anyone intends harm, but because dependencies exist that amplify minor shocks. The 2008 financial crisis demonstrated that even sophisticated institutions, staffed by experts, are vulnerable to emergent failures. Civilization-level collapse operates similarly. Interdependence magnifies vulnerabilities in ways that individuals or institutions cannot fully anticipate. Emergent collapse is compounded by human behavior. Individuals act in self-interest. Organizations compete, and decisions are often made without full knowledge of downstream consequences. Collective outcomes are not necessarily aligned with any one actor's intention. In ancient societies, elites maintained power while local systems deteriorated beneath them. In modern societies, similar dynamics occur. Bureaucracies and organizations can obscure risks while appearing functional. Collapse does not require a villain. It requires a system under pressure. Food scarcity exemplifies this principle. Crops may fail due to drought, pests, or soil depletion. Supply chains delay or reroute distribution. Prices rise, social unrest increases, and governments scramble to respond. No single person orchestrated this cascade. The system, by virtue of its complexity and dependencies, created a crisis. Ancient civilizations faced analogous dynamics. Famine and economic disruption acted as emergent forces that leaders could not fully control. Another illustration comes from public health. Epidemics rarely rely on intentional mismanagement to become devastating. They exploit networks of population, movement, and communication. Ancient societies suffered plague outbreaks that decimated populations, weakening labor systems, food production, and social cohesion. The disease was an agent of collapse, but its spread was governed by emergent interactions, not deliberate intent. Modern societies, while more prepared, still face emergent risks from pandemics, antibiotic resistance, and environmental stress. Political systems are equally susceptible. Complex governance structures rely on information flows, institutional trust, and societal compliance. When these flows become misaligned through misinformation, corruption, or overextension, emergent failures can cascade. Ancient Rome, despite competent leaders at times, suffered a gradual unraveling of governance due to cumulative pressures on taxation, administration, and military logistics. No single emperor failed Rome. Systemic misalignment did. Emergent collapse also operates across scales and timescales. Minor stresses accumulate silently over decades, creating vulnerabilities that appear suddenly when thresholds are crossed. Small shocks can amplify due to feedback loops, producing rapid, dramatic consequences that seem sudden to observers. This explains why civilizations often appear stable until collapse is visible. Stability is an emergent illusion. Technological dependence amplifies this principle. Ancient civilizations relied on practical infrastructure, irrigation, roads, metallurgy. Modern civilization depends on digital systems, global logistics, and energy grids. The interactions of these systems introduce new failure points. Even if humans act rationally, unanticipated consequences emerge from interdependent networks. Emergent failure does not require error. It is a property of complexity. Trust is another emergent factor. Civilizations depend on individuals cooperating within social norms and institutional expectations. When trust erodes through inequality, corruption, or broken social contracts, systems fail in ways that are not directed by any actor. Ancient societies collapsed when local or regional trust fractured, weakening trade, governance, and security. Modern societies remain equally vulnerable. Confidence underpins everything from markets to civic stability. Environmental and climatic pressures interact with emergent dynamics. Civilizations are embedded in ecosystems. Ancient irrigation systems collapsed under prolonged drought. Soil depletion reduced yields. Resource scarcity triggered social unrest. Modern civilization, with globalized supply chains and climate stress, faces analogous risks. Small environmental perturbations can propagate through interconnected systems, creating systemic collapse without any single agent intending it. Emergent collapse is therefore inevitable in complex civilizations unless adaptation and redundancy are prioritized. Ancient societies occasionally recovered through innovation, migration, or reorganization. Modern societies have greater technological capacity, but the principle remains: systems are fragile unless actively maintained, monitored, and diversified. Emergent failure is the default state of complexity. Understanding emergent collapse shifts perspective. It teaches that blaming leaders or disasters oversimplifies reality. Civilizations fail not because of dramatic events alone, but because invisible systems interact in predictable, yet often unappreciated ways. This principle transcends culture, geography, and era. History is not a story of villains. It is a story of structures. The quiet lesson is sobering. Civilization is not controlled by individuals. It is governed by invisible, interdependent systems. These systems, when aligned, produce prosperity. When misaligned, they produce crisis. Emergent collapse is not random. It is the natural consequence of complexity under pressure. Recognizing this does not induce fatalism. It encourages foresight. Societies that monitor systemic alignment, diversify dependencies, and maintain resilience can extend survival. Those that ignore invisible forces are at risk, not from a single failure, but from the accumulation of interconnected pressures. History is full of civilizations that fell without anyone pulling a single thread. Their stories remind us that the systems beneath us are both the foundation of our success and the origin of our failures. Civilizations collapse even when no one is in control, because control is often an illusion. The true power lies in alignment, balance, and resilience. Understanding this may be the most crucial lesson for any civilization, ancient or modern. Subscribe to this channel for more. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a story lost to time.